Just Hockey is the largest supplier of hockey equipment in Australia. With a full range of sticks, pads, shoes and safety equipment, they'll have you out on the practice zone today. Check out the website for the store nearest you, all the specials and the latest hockey news from around the world on Go Hockey News. Just Hockey. It's all hockey.
In the session today we're going to be working again on mini games. With mini games it's about developing skills that we have practiced either the day before or at some other session. So with this mini game here you can see behind me, what we're trying to develop is kids being able to make passes through gates to other players. So being able to move the ball around with using their teammates by making passes through gates. So their goal is to try and pass the ball between two gates to score a goal. So that opportunity is then the players have got to get the ball, make passes through the gates and then look for the next pass after that. So we're developing their skill of making push passes around within inside a confined area. As you can see with the way we've filled the field out, because of the numbers, we just have to adjust the field size. So at the moment we've got small numbers, so we're using from the halfway to 25. With the way we've placed the gates around the field, it's not so much we're trying to place them in certain areas, it's about just strategically placing the gates so the kids have got to work really hard looking at not just the area they're in, but other parts of the field to be able to make passes or to be able to make push passes in through those gates. So as you can see, we've got some down one end, we've got some down the other, and then from there, as you can just see, a young fella's just ran through one gate, and the next thing he's going to try and do is make another pass through another gate. So again, it's just developed, not just been working in one area, but getting the head up and identifying new areas to be able to work towards. The name of the game is that we want to see the player with the ball, either one, make a pass through the gates, or they can actually get the ball and dribble the ball through the gates and then look for a pass. There's no set rule, it's all about trying to develop identifying space on the field and then be able to travel to that space and then make that pass through the gates. What they're trying to do is get the ball from the gate they've just come from to a new gate. So as you can see now they're trying to work to the second gate. Oh, and they've nearly got through that. Now the red team's picked the ball up. Now as you can see there was a gate in front of him, he could have gone through that, but he's decided opted against that and looking for a different space to work towards. It certainly can be looking a little confusing, but if we start to get the kids to identify those gates and then find out where the space is, then they can start to go through them. It's a tough part of the game that we need to explore more, and this sort of game explores that, being able to get the kids to identify a good space, being able to go to that space and make push passes to those areas. So that's why we call them gates rather than calling them goals, so that they know it's an area or a space that they run through. So as you can see, the coaches are now talking about those sorts of things and trying to identify those areas that they can work a little bit better at. They can go anywhere inside from the 25 to the halfway, so they can go anywhere in that area. They can use behind the goals. They're not so much goals, they're gates. They're just areas that the kids run through or go through. So what we've tried to do is, if we call it a goal, then they think that it's the only place they can score. And it's about, as you can see, that young fella there just got from one gate over to the next, made a pass, great work, and then they've still got the ball and good control of it. So they've gone from one gate to the next gate. So they've identified one area and then attacked into another area, and that's what it's about. So just to sum up, there's probably three aspects that we need out of this. Identifying space, how to create space, and then making the pass to that space. We talk about running off the ball or movement off the ball. The player that's got the ball needs to be able to make a pass. So we need players to move or create space by leading into space to receive it. So the player off the ball has to run into that space so that it can receive the ball. So it's really important that they need to be able to move into those spaces. A lot of kids will just follow the ball and be really close around it. What we want to try and do is get them to identify that there's an area they can run towards, and that's why we put the gates out there. They've identified that area, if they run to there, that's a good space that they can go, receive the ball, and then go off from there.